Hello, and welcome to Delphian and DelphianTrading.com. Delphian had a seminar in Dallas, Texas, August 23rd through the 24th of 2019. Joshua Smithberger was the speaker at the seminar, and he is a trading strategist with Delphian. Sean Glover also assisted with the speaking, and he is a trading strategist with Delphian as well. Thanks for watching our videos.
So every day, there's questions like, what do you do every day? And I'm like, well, I do 3 things. And it takes me like 15 minutes because I don't have a lot of time, right? So the first thing we'll do is I'll show you quickly, and then we'll go back in detail. Okay, so first thing I do, I look at 2 indices, S&P 500 Russell. That's it. I don't care about the Dow, the joke, 30 stocks. I agree. S&P 500, that's for, news consumption, price weighted. I don't even, Dow's like worthless to me. S&P 500 biggest market cap stocks, huge. I mean, that's like most of the market, right? And then you have the Russell 2000. So you have 2,000 companies. It's like no one's over like 1%. So that's your risk. Risk on, risk off. That's where the risk money is. So you want to see these things. In very bullish markets, these things are both like working together. So bearish markets, they start to, the risk money. You think of that like high yield bonds. You think of the Russell 2000, small cap stocks. That's where the money comes out first, I would say. It's like, oh, I'm worried about the market. Are you worried about Apple or Procter & Gamble, or are you worried about some no-name company in the Russell 2000? Like, you don't know anything about them, so so that's kind of the risk. So we look at those 2 to give us market direction. So, and we'll do that. We're going to go in the weeds to explain state modeling and how we look at this each week. So that's step 1. Step 2, and we'll start over at the beginning, but the screener button up there, the filter, that's the quick link. So each day we publish studies. We'd already been talking about this. We'll go into detail on these, but I go through, so I look at the market direction, I get a bias, and I come in, and then I look at studies. So we have different studies. We have pullbacks, we have a breakout, and then we have bottoms, no bearish. So they all populate if the criteria trip. So we're looking at like 300 or 400 different stocks each day, and the system automatically scans and it'll populate. Then say if you click 5-year,
The one stock, that doesn't matter.
no, it isn't full print. So it'll automatically tell you what trips, and you can click on this up here, and it'll give you the actual criteria and what it's looking for. So correlation for a 5-year period, these targets met. We'll get in detail on this, and then it'll give you the stock list that it's looking for, 454. So each day the system scans all 9 different strategies, 454 stocks, tells you, okay, this one met, this one met. So some days you get a lot, some days you don't. So click off that. So it'll populate all the stocks that met there, and then down here we did a nice little high probability. So this scans for, so it automatically backtests all the stocks that met the criteria. So then it'll go in and backtest them automatically and tell you, okay, here's the win rate. This one, it won 85%, so it's like 1 win, 6 wins, 1 loss, and then that's your profit factor, so that's total profits over total losses. So these scan for, and it'll tell you it has to win over 75% to be in this high probability. It pulls from all the other ones. Say, okay, this one, the back test for this individual signal was 75% or more. So it's like the easy button. If you don't want to scan through, so some days there's, we have like 50, like the market pulls back, we may get 50 things in there. So
are all of these in the evening email?
yeah, so you get now it's at night.
Yeah.
It used to be at like 7, so we have, we're switching servers. So hopefully everything will speed up here in the near future, but it should. Normally, it used to populate around 7 or 8 p.m. Now it's like midnight. So, we have to pull back a lot of processes. So it's like a morning thing at this point, but we'll get it back to where it's in the evening. But, we take in like 1 million pieces of data. We crunch, so many processes to go through to automate everything so that it just comes out in this nice little easy. But you'll know the system's updated when you get that email, the studies email, the system's it's all up to date at that point.
There's a couple of mornings I get up and there's nothing, does that mean that nothing triggered? There's a couple of mornings there's no email.
Occasionally, you might have a day where there's nothing.
Okay.
But
You said there's 430 stocks?
454.
54?
For these. In total, we have like 1,200 in the system. But we only scanned for, like most of these are pretty, like we did a quick kind of liquidity, like you don't want to get a trade signal and you can't execute it because the bid ask is wide or there's no volume. So most of these you can probably execute. So I'd say like a 90-ish%. You look at it and it's like, oh, it's fine. Occasionally you'll be like, I don't want to do this just because, no volume, or you have to find a different strike or something. But they're fairly liquid. I think of them just liquid stock option list. Yeah.
Is there a way to limit to a watch list?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
And that's what we did with this. We basically just, like Josh said, we did a screener. We said we only want to see, certain stocks with a certain bid-ask spread, with a certain volume, things like that. That one stock was like a $10 stock, but you can even go in there and say, okay, well, I only want to trade stocks over $30 and not as high as $1,000 or whatever. You can use that as part of your screener as well, and then you can match that screener or that stock list that you generated up against the studies also. So totally customizable. I mean, that 454 list could go to a list of like 200, if you only want to trade.
Are you talking about uploading your own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that as well.
Yeah. That email you can do.
I've got a stable. I call it a stable.
Right.
Runners, and it's about 80 wide.
Okay.
You
You can import it, and then, like that email, you can drop down and select your own stock list and see if anything populates. Well, all you do is create it, yeah.
What's the difference between this set and the reduced two that are the recommendations? You've got under this bull button,
Yeah.
a large set, and then it's reduced to these two.
Oh, yeah.
What's the difference?
Oh, the criteria? This criteria, you mean?
Okay, so that criteria is different from what the two met?
Well, these.
Yeah, every one will have different criteria, and then the bottoms, we don't have long calls, because, it's more of it's on resistance, and it doesn't necessarily jump up.
Why is that button there if you selected RSI bottom bull put? Okay, but then why is this set here?
Oh, just showing the actual.
Okay, but what's the difference between this set and the two that filtered out?
Click off. So this is high probability. So if you go to the bottom, so you can see this one, these both have 100% and profit, winning profit factors. This one didn't, so it lost money, even though you're 3 out of 4 wins. Like, that means you lost, for every $1 you put in, you got 60 cents back. So that's why this one didn't make it into the high probability, because it went profitable, and even though it was over 75%. So it filters for profitable and winning over 75 in this tab down here.
But if you click on the icon, the middle icon under quick links, because I think I understand this question. Click on
The state modeling one?
yeah. That I'm wrong. Just a moment ago, you clicked on one of those icons, and you came up with the description of the strategy, and then there was a long list stocks underneath it.
Yeah,
And we were trying to, okay,
And it's just 454.
yeah, we're trying to,
How is this list different from the other three?
yeah,
Yeah, these met those conditions, right?
no.
No?
I think that's the candidate list.
Oh, this is the set that those conditions are applied to in the
Yeah, this is the-
successful,
Those, what you're screening, the
So you
required
might-
criteria.
You might
Okay.
put a label there, is, you know, screened candidates or
Scanned list or something.
scanned list or something.
all right, that makes, and the
Clear.
two are the ones that came out of
Met that
the
criteria,
filter,
right,
okay.
that's right.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
So is this a custom list?
This is, it's a custom list that we developed within the screener section, so but again, you can do that to meet certain criteria. Like I've mentioned before, the one stock had come up like a $10 stock. Typically, since I trade options, I kind of exclude anything under $30. So I'll be like, my list will be 30 and above, and then I'll use a certain bid-ask spread, a certain volume, and things like that. So my list of 454 here, my list is maybe around 220 or so.
So if we develop a list outside, can we import those symbols
sir.
into that, to make a,
Yeah, there's a way you can import via Excel. You just have to follow the Excel format that they have saved on there, but I think it just says like symbol at the top, and you just run down below or something, like it's a pretty standard format. And you just import them all right there and then import them in the system, and you'll save them right over there.
We can show them real quick. Click off the plus button. Stock list. So that plus button is like the quick create.
This one here, sorry. So that quick create, you can quickly create all these different.
You don't have to import, you have to go to organize it.
Do you have it on there?
So,
So I just went in, sorry, organizer stock list. If I click add new.
yeah. And then import.
So you can do it either by the signal like we just showed, by clicking on signal here, and you can just start using all the different signals or indicators that are available in there. Or you can go to import. You can manually do it as well, so just the name, description, you can start typing in symbols here and manually import them in that way. You can also search down here as well, so you could do like.
do you have
Clicking at
a
them.
default list like, say, the OEX candidates that you could,
We have like S&P.
copy that over and then save it as your own list and then delete out the ones you don't want? Or would you have to export that OEX, delete them out, and then bring it back in as a new list?
Well, you could import it, like, you know, if you have the,
Symbols?
yeah, if you have the symbol. So go to import, all you do is click that, and it's just an Excel spreadsheet, and you just put all the symbols on the left-hand side.
Oh, okay.
It's real easy, and then you save it, and then you plug it in, and it'll upload it. And then you can, once you have that, you can go in and delete and remove things from that list. All right, sidetrack, let's go back. Okay, so, you know, first step is market direction. Yeah.
A lot of criteria went by there for a second. Are the parameters on the criteria adjustable
For what? The
for
settings?
the settings?
No. Well, for the trades, yeah. Like if you want to change the strategy, like the bull calls, like how you want to structure that, yeah, you can change, alter all that. But like the stop that we look for and the signals that we use, you know, those are set in stone.
Are you talking about these different signal indicators here?
Yeah, I like an ATR of 50.
Yeah, these you can adjust to however you see fit. So you can actually put in a certain number of days, a minimum or a max. These are highly customizable,
Right.
and all of them are different ways that you can put in a variety of information. I mean, you can do, you know, even just price. You can do a minimum, maximum price adjusted, consecutive trends. So there's a lot of different things you can get in there and start adding. And you can add these different filters on top of each other. It'll just list them all right here. One side note to that I have is if you get too specific, you know, you might come up with one stop or no stop. So, right, that's true. So I typically start a little bit wider.
One good one.
Right, that's all you need. I agree with that. So typically I start wide and then kind of start narrowing it down, because I have gotten it before where I get 0 results on my guy. Not necessarily just on a stock list, but
on using certain indicators over the past, 10, 12 years or whatever. So then you might have to.
I don't see a Trump tweet in it.
I don't think there's a tweet one yet, no.
No, not yet. So, first step, market direction, then we look at studies, and then I go to state transitions. So this is like an all-in-one screener backtester. So it tells you, and we'll get into state modeling more, but basically it tells you, okay, these are in the most bullish state, and I want to backtest them with different strategies. I can do long call, I can do bull call, bull put, you can do naked puts, whatever you want. You can backtest them here, and then you just select whichever ones you want. So these change every day as stocks go from bullish to bearish indicators. And we'll get into this a lot more, but that's just kind of the quick overview. So normally it takes me about 10, 15 minutes